Hey there, welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. If this is the very first time you've discovered my channel, yay, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you. And if you're a returning subscriber, yay, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate your support. Now, my subscribers already know that my goal is to save you time and money by giving you the scoop on filmmaking quality and content. So you can decide whether or not you want to watch the movie or if it's appropriate for family viewing. So today, the movie I'm reviewing is called Sweetwater. This inspiring and true story is now playing on Angel Studios. The film is rated PG-13, and I'll give you some tips for parents here in just a minute. It's an hour and 58 minutes long, and my overall movie review mom grade is an A. I really enjoyed this. So first I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked, things I didn't like, tips for parents, themes worth talking about if you watch this with other people, funny lines, interesting lines, and we'll finish up with recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that you might also really like if you like this one, and vice versa. If you like the other ones, you might like this one. All right, so let's get started. In a nutshell, when I was a little girl, I remember watching the Harlem Globetrotters on TV. There was this funny cartoon series about them that I watched on Saturday mornings. Yes, I'm that old that's how we watched cartoons. I loved it so much that I talked my dad into taking me to see the real Harlem Globetrotters when they came to my city on tour. He bought me this little mini basketball from that event, which I kept for years and loved and remembered how much fun I had at that event. So obviously I was all in when I heard about this story. Now, the story in this film is about Nat Sweetwater Clifton, who made history in his journey to become the first African American to sign an NBA contract, forever changing the game of professional basketball. The film was written and directed by Martin Guigui. Oh, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Sorry, Martin, if I slaughtered it. Already, it has been nominated and won 17 awards from various film festivals around the world, including Best Film, Best Director, Best Story, and Best Actor. So congratulations to the team. Quick tips for parents. The N-word is used as a racial slur, but not too often. Thank goodness. I just watched another movie and that was filled with the N-word, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to review that one. It was like brutal to watch. But back to this movie. There is some violence, there's some bullying. You have to read details to some things that are on a screen, and then there is some profanity. Some of the themes that are illustrated are teamwork, willingness to work hard, climbing mountains of change, racism, hope, working toward your goals, passion, and growing your God-given talents. Now, here's a long list of things that I really liked about this film. First of all, I really admire Jim Caviezel for choosing so many good Christian movies in recent years to boost the genre of that film. And yes, fans are asking for more films with good values and less wokeness and political stuff in them by the millions. Jim is really only in the beginning of this movie, but it's always good to see him. And as always, he did a terrific job in this role. Now, I want to give a shout out to Angel Studios because that's where you can watch this film now. And they are really changing things up by the way that they're distributing their films, selling tickets, and giving back to this Christian, generally this Christian audience that wants good films. Good in quality, but also good in values. And I support them 100%. I think they're really terrific. If you want to know more about them, head over to Angel Studios. They've got this guild that you can sign up for and actually have a say in which movies are released. And you'll notice I have given an A to almost every movie that they release because they're that good. Now, the rest of the cast in this movie does a fantastic job. It includes recognized Hollywood names like Richard Dreyfuss, Eric Roberts, Cary Elwes, Jeremy Piven, Mike Starr, and Kevin Pollak, as well as a bunch of unfamiliar faces. And they all do a really great job. Everett Osborne crushes it as Sweetwater. He looks great and plays basketball like he's truly the star that he's playing. Even if you're not a huge basketball fan, I think that you're really still going to enjoy all of the fun basketball scenes and the impressive skills that are portrayed on the screen. There are a lot of emotional and educational moments, kind of something for everybody here. The film does a great job showing us what racism in sports looked like back in the day in the 1950s here in the United States of America. I love it when filmmakers pay attention to the details when trying to create a period piece that looks really authentic. And I thought that the production elements were outstanding. The soundtrack is absolutely lovely too, as if the writer slash director, Martin Guigui, I'm changing his name every time I say it, as if he weren't working hard enough on this film. He also co-created the music with Jeff Cardoni. That's amazing. Sweetwater really did drive a taxi in Chicago during his later years in life, and we actually get to see pictures and video clips of him. So keep watching at the very end of the movie to see real life footage, to see him speak and play basketball too. We've seen a lot of underdog sports biopics over the decades, yet most of us have never even heard of Sweetwater, including me. And so it's about time that his story was told. The story is filled with heart. You'll cry, you'll cheer. Now, all of that being said, Hollywood critics are mostly trashing this movie with a very disrespectful score of 25% on Rotten Tomatoes, while audiences are loving it, awarding it a very high 95%. I definitely agree with the audience on this one. Now, critics often bash Christian movies simply because they're Christian movies. And I get it. Christian movies over the years, over the decades, have had a pretty bad rap because of they're just not that good. They're very cheesy, and there are some melodramatic moments in this film. But overall, I thought it did a really great job. One of those feel-good sports movies. Now, there were a few things I didn't like. For example, some of the characters who were racist white men felt very one-dimensional. The villain of the story is basically this group of white men with no vision for the sport and simply relying on tradition and the color of a player's skin. Now, that is a pretty compelling villain, right? But it also was part of the day, the way people were back then. Not to say that that was okay, but I was looking, I think, for a little bit more depth than just sort of these flat, predictable characters. Even though the story teaches us about the NBA, we don't really see an NBA game on the screen until Act 3. Now, that being said, we do see other basketball being played, and it's very good. At least, I thought it was good. I played basketball in high school and I was terrible. So in comparison, I thought what we saw was very good on the screen. Now, whenever I watch movies, I write down funny lines and interesting lines simply to give you a taste of the dialogue. I didn't write down any funny lines. There is some razzing and some playful language that goes between the players, and it's all meant to be in good fun. So I didn't write down any funny lines that stood out to me, but I did write an interesting line, and this speaks to one of the themes, and this is a young coach who is saying this to Sweetwater when he dunked a ball for the very first time in a public game. He says, just because you never seen it before does not make it illegal, because there is a lot of legalese during the game where they're trying to keep him out of the league, out of the NBA. So they're kind of trumping up charges and making stuff up. But he hears that and it inspires him and propels him forward. Another thing I do when I watch movies is instantly think of other movies that are somewhat similar. So I wanted to recommend these three. The first one is called The Green Book. Loved it. We got 2 Academy nominees and 1 winner out of this movie, and it's so well done. It speaks again to the 1950s and what was going on among racial tensions in this country, among blacks versus whites predominantly, and what was allowed and what wasn't allowed, and who could cross that barrier and all of that. Fantastic movie. Definitely check that one out. In fact, I loved it so much, I'm going to cue that one up so you can watch it after you finish watching this movie. Another one is Hidden Figures, also based on a true story. And I should mention, The Green Book is also a true story. Actually, all of these movies I'm recommending are true stories. Hidden Figures has to do with women breaking that glass ceiling, but particularly Black women in NASA. fantastic, beautifully well done. And then the last one is called The Long Game. Now, that's also another underdog sports film, but this one addresses racial disparity with Hispanics. Or South Americans or Latinos or whatever it is that you want to call them. Predominantly, they were Mexicans. They were crossing the border and wanting to play golf. Really lovely film as well. And I love The Long Game. The title refers to both golf and also to the players were trying to show what their race could do in the long game to cross those those racial barriers. Anyway, really well done. Highly recommend all three. All right, so thank you for sticking with me here to the bitter end. When you get a minute, run over and visit me on social media. You can find me as Movie Review Mom. But you can also find me, for example, on Instagram as Trina Boyce, where you can learn about my books, especially when they go on sale on Amazon. I've got 33 of them out right now. You can learn about my online courses, my products, and my other shenanigans. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.